Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful music. You are listening to WECS, and we are joined today with Luke Hendon and Jack Soref. We'll be right back after a brief message.
Hi, this is Paul and Diane with Acousticool, one-of-a-kind live music in Bristol, Connecticut.
And you're listening to Something Different with Mark E. Ramone.
But it's cool, and we're cool, and everything's cool.
And WECS Willimantic. All right. Beautiful, beautiful music. So while you were playing, I was kind of thinking, how difficult is it for you to be playing with somebody and to know like when to hand it off, if you're going to do like a solo riff or something, or do you have cues worked out ahead of time, or you just kind of know mentally, just telepathically?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it's just people been jamming our whole lives, so it comes pretty naturally, you know. Yeah. So I don't think there's much to it. Do you have anything to add to that?
I mean, I think the real nerdy answer is we do play sort of a repeating song form. So every time we get done with that little form and it loops back around, you sort of keep an eye out and think, well, something's going to happen. But probably the cooler answer is it's like talking, and you wait till someone's done and then you say stuff, and sometimes you talk over each other and you both apologize. And
And probably a lot of people don't even notice. They just listen to the music and it all sounds good.
yeah, hopefully.
So you said the name of that song, which was?
It was called Swing Gitan.
Is that from?
Who wrote that, Jack?
So this one has actually a really controversial and mysterious provenance. It popped up by the title Swing Gitan sometime in the 90s, and it's hard to say who gave it that title first, but it's actually a song from a French jazz guitarist, not so much a Django player, but someone who loved Django, whose name I think was something like Petit Jean was like his nickname. And it was originally called Stefan Stomp, but it's entered the Django repertoire en masse as Swing Gitan, so go figure.
Jack, good job. Bring Jack
Excellent.
because he knows all this stuff, you know.
So that wasn't written by either of you then. So I know, Luke, you put out an album, Silk and Steel.
Right.
Jack, do you have any released?
Yeah, I do. I have an album of also my original tunes called Rain on the Terrace.
Excellent.
Yeah. We don't have anything prepared from our albums yet because actually we're going to rehearse after this before the show. So we just met up just now. So we're just playing standards at the moment. But you're welcome to put on one of Jack's songs off of his CD if you want.
Yeah, I'd be happy to share some music, and you should play some of Luke's. His album is good.
I've played with Dinner with Paulus.
Oh yeah.
When I heard some video you were talking about it or something. It was a promo for it, and I thought you said you were having dinner with Paul Schaefer.
Oh,
It's Paulus Schaefer.
right, Paulus Schaefer, yeah.
Completely different. But that took you to the Netherlands, right?
Yeah. Yep. And it's a really great community out there. And I don't know, not only Paulus Schaefer and the other person who was there, whose name was Fappy Lafferton, but then just down the road from them live a famous family called the Rosenbergs, and that's Stokelo Rosenberg. And he's also amazing. And there's just amazing players all over the place over there.
Have you both played around the world at various places?
I mean, a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, a little in Scotland. I stayed in Paris for an extended time and got to play all the little places there, and played lots of festivals across the country and a little bit in Canada.
So in Paris, do you ever, while you were there, did you ever kind of daydream and imagine what it would have been like to see Django Reinhardt playing in Paris in the 30s?
Yeah. I mean, I think we all dream of what that would be like. The only thing I can say is that it's a living tradition, and it still feels very much alive and connected to that. And funny enough, I stayed in a cheap little suburb just below Paris called, cheap and little is rude. It's a nice suburb called Villejuif. And the big commercial center there, apparently Django used to busk there, do play on the street as a little kid, right where I used to hang out,
Oh,
which
cool.
I didn't know till years later.
Wonderful. All right. Would you like to do another song? Do you want me to play something from the CD?
Either way.
It's up to you, Jack. You can decide.
Well, why don't we play something now, and then we can play something from the CD after.
Yeah, we can do that on the outro or
All
something.
right. You want to do Coquette or do you want to do Nuage?
Let's do Coquette.
Coquette? Okay.
Ninety point one WECS, something different. Here with Luke Hendon and Jack Soref, and we'll be right back after this brief message.
Hi, this is Paul and Diane with Acousticool, one-of-a-kind live music in Bristol, Connecticut.
And you're listening to Something Different with Mark E. Ramone.
But it's cool, and we're cool, everything's cool.
And it is cool right here at WECS. We have an hour of gypsy jazz style music here for you and your listening enjoyment. And I'm joined with Luke Hendon and Jack Soref. Luke, when I was preparing for this interview, I thought that I was telling people, oh yeah, I interviewed Luke last year, but it wasn't last year. It was like 2 years ago almost.
Oh, right. Yeah. Well, time flies.
It does.
People are sick, I guess.
And Jack, welcome for the first time. You're currently living up in the Boston area, is that correct?
I mostly gig in Boston, but I live in Worcester.
Oh,
so a
Worcester.
little closer.
Yeah. And you spent some time in the summer in Northampton at a camp?
Yes, yeah. There's a Django music camp that's international. We bring artists like the ones Luke mentioned, like Paulus Schaefer, and great people from the Sinti community and the Parisian community, and just if we find a great player who we think can teach and get along with students for a week, we put everyone together and
Wow.
and we jam and we do workshops and we eat together, and it's concerts at the end of the week. It's sort of a beautiful, beautiful thing.
That sounds wonderful. So people can sign up if say they're already a musician or already a guitar player, and they come to kind of enhance their skills to this camp.
Absolutely. We sort of cater to both beginners, not necessarily beginners at the guitar, but beginners at Django music, certainly. And then we try and have a space for even professional musicians in the United States where they can spend some time at the knee of some of the best players in the world. And really, the hope is if that player was on tour and came to your town, would they hire you, and how would you do? So we have workshops that are more geared towards that kind of player.
Oh, good.
And everything in between.
Excellent. And that is each summer in Northampton?
Yeah, just a week in June, usually about the third week in June.
Is there a way to look it up online if anybody's interested?
If you go to djangoinjune.com, you'll find everything you need to know.
That's easy. Django in June.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. That's a cool place to kind of get together and jam. You were saying, is there anybody that you would kind of want to jam with, like a dream jam with anybody in the world?
Anybody in the world?
Yeah.
Well, that plays that style of music. Let's see. I mean, I think Borelli Legrand is one of my favorite players, and so yeah. And you know what? I've had an opportunity at Django and June and other places to play with a lot of players. Never Borelli, but a lot of amazing players. So it's been really lucky to do that. I don't know. What do you think, Jack?
Yeah, I mean, I think that there are so many great players in this style. It would be so fun to jam with so many of them. I have a particular love for the Sinti community right around Holland, where Paulus Schaefer is from that sort of family, like Luke mentioned, the Rosenberg Trio and other players like that. And it would be very fun to jam with them. But really, there are wonderful players who are fun to jam with just about everywhere. It's amazing the quality of Django music around the world now versus even 20, 30 years ago.
That's cool. I imagine just being in a musician's community, it must be great to just jam with anybody, or pretty much, each summer you probably meet new people and have a wonderful time.
Yeah, well, I think for a lot of us, when we were in quarantine and lockdown not all that long ago, we really had a moment to appreciate how wonderful jamming with others was, and I think we all really felt the lack of that. And I know the first times I got to get together with people, just in a park or something, not even a gig yet, it was just such a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, it's not quite the same jamming on Zoom. See it all the time, though. Those first
There's
2
always
years.
somebody who says they figured out the delay, but I don't know. It's still not working for me.
Yeah.
All right. So, do you have any other shows coming up other than at the Packing House tonight at 7:30?
Well, I've got lots of little local things in Boston. You can usually see me. I'm going to be out of the country next week, but usually every Tuesday at the Burren in Somerville in Davis Square from 7 to 10. And I've got a big gig coming up at the Regent Theater in, I believe it's Arlington, Massachusetts, called the Great Guitar Night, which is March 24th. That's Friday, and it's going to feature guitarists of all sorts of different styles, and feature the sort of guitar legend Arlen Roth is going to be the big headliner. But that'll be a fun night that I should be shouting about.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Luke, do you have anything coming up?
Let's see. I have something on the 25th. It's I think it's called the Little Red Barn Brewery, and it's in Connecticut. But anyway, yeah, it's 25th. I have to put it up on my calendar. But, Red Barn, Little Red Barn, something like that.
Little Red Riding Hood Barn.
Yeah, but I've actually been not gigging so much right now. I'm sort of writing a bunch of stuff right now, so I've sort of taken a little time off of gigging as much as I normally do.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to do some writing. So
Kind of going to find that balance, yeah.
yeah.
All right. I'm going to do a quick break, and we'll come back with some more music. How about that?
Sounds good.
Hi, this is Paul and Diane with Acousticool, one-of-a-kind live music in Bristol, Connecticut.
And you're listening to Something Different with Mark E. Ramone.
But it's cool, and we're cool, everything's cool.
90.1 WECS, Something Different. And Something Different today, we have some live music, including two musicians here in the studio, Luke Hendon and Jack Soref, and they'll be performing tonight at the Packing House in Willington on Route 32, right before that 90-degree turn in Route 32 in Willington. You know where it is. And 7:30 tonight, get down there to the Packing House. It's a great place to perform, well, to listen to music. Do you find that the acoustics there are helpful for this kind of music?
I remember liking it last time, so it's pretty good. You know, it's not like a Carnegie Hall, but it has nice acoustics.
Yeah, I mean, we had a lot of fun last time. It was a nice listening audience, and it's a special kind of intimate thing to get a concert and to share the evening with a group of people who also love music.
Excellent. All right. Would you like to play another one?
Sure.
Okay. What do you want to do?
A little new one?
Sure. You can take the lead on this one.
Okay.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful music. I was just lost. I was like imagining myself in a Parisian cafe, just listening to some live music in the background like that. And wow, it sounds wonderful. All right, so tonight at the Packing House, and so do you think is this something that somebody could learn on their own, just picking up a piece of sheet music and starting to learn to play off of that, or is it something where you need to be in the company of someone else who knows?
Well, I'll say for myself, I didn't really get it. I liked Django's music, and I listened to his recordings when I was a teenager, and I played the guitar, and I liked it enough that I went to the Django Reinhardt Festival in Samois-sur-Seine, where he's buried in France. And I didn't really get it until we were camping. It's a whole sort of another festival with a social jamming element. And Stockolo Rosenberg and lots of his cousins, these are these great Sinti musicians, some of the big stars in our music who are living, happened to swing by our campsite to play a tune, and a very young Paulus Schaefer was there.
Oh, wow.
And hearing them about as far away as you are to me, that was what it took for me to get that there was really a whole different thing happening when they played guitar. The sound of the guitars was different. The way they touched them was different. The feeling of it was really its own special thing. And I've never been the same since. I've been trying to chase that ever since.
Excellent. That's a great story. Is there something obvious about the guitars that makes them a little different, or? I'm looking at you. You got like that half fret.
Yeah, his is broken, I think.
Yeah. I mean, these guitars, they are special. They're sort of a weird hybrid of the way Italian mandolins were designed in the 19th century. They're a mixture of some ideas from the classical guitar and some little touches from the American jazz guitar, and you mush all those things together in the early 30s, and you come out with something kind of like what these are. And they've got a million different little design things that make them different, but we don't need to go through every little spec.
But they do have different strings than normal guitars. They're called silk and steel strings. So they have
That's where you got that.
yeah. They have a slightly more like a different tonal quality than just like a nylon string or a steel string.
Mm-hmm.
And also the way they're built with the bracings and stuff give them their tone, which projects a lot and is good for playing lead guitar as well as rhythm. Or playing, so I think anything about the sound they project.
They project. They're not too bass heavy. They've got this sort of beautiful kind of bite or punch that's really nice in an ensemble setting, but also just has its own unique little sound and character. And they're instruments that really, if you don't play them right, they'll let you know.
It's true.
They
don't sound too good, like if you just try to pluck around on it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a certain way you have to play that really, and then they open up.
And they're beautiful too. They look antique and they've got character to them. Very beautiful. All right. We have the New Music Alliance coming up in about 15 minutes at the top of the hour, which is a show featuring local original music from Western New England, Southern Vermont, down through Western Massachusetts into Connecticut. And stay tuned for that. I don't know. I don't remember if I'm on it or not, but it's a great show. It's a wonderful show coming up at 4 o'clock here at WECS. So we probably have time for one more live song before you can catch the rest of the show at the Packing House tonight.
Sure.
Which one are you?
We're going to play a song called Joseph, Joseph.
Ah,
Nice, easy tempo.
Bravo. Luke Hendon and Jack Soref here live in the studio at 90.1 WECS. Wow.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you
Yeah,
for coming down.
If you like that at all, you should come tonight because we actually just met here at the studio. We haven't seen each other in quite a while, and now we're going to go rehearse.
Yeah.
Tonight.
Wow, if that
Yeah,
was how
we
you
haven't
sound
seen
cold.
each other since the last time we played.
Yeah, right.
It's amazing that, yeah, you guys play well together, as they say. Is there? I was doing a little bit of research on kind of the gypsy jazz style. And I think from what I heard is that there's not as much. There sometimes is percussion, but not as much percussion. Sometimes more strings, like a violin would be accompanying, or maybe an accordion or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think the classic lineup is guitars, upright bass, and violin, but the accordion is certainly near and dear to, I think, both our hearts, and we've both played with probably the same great jazz accordionist quite a bit, Dallas Vietti. But yeah, accordion, clarinet, the saxophones, the trumpet. I mean, all the instruments you might hear in a jazz setting have found their way into some kind of gypsy jazz setting.
And it blends in so well, even though the main focus is on those quick strings that you've got going on the guitars.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun, all the different tonal colors you get with the different instruments, and the way they, each instrument brings a different something to the table.
Absolutely. Wow. All right, so beautiful, beautiful music. Luke Hendon, Jack Soref, tonight at the Packing House, 7:30. Oh, you know what? You want to play a quick game? You've already played this game.
Oh, okay.
Jack hasn't played
Let's
the
have
game
Jack play.
yet.
Uh-oh.
Jack, this is called Lyrical Ponderings. I'm going to give you the title of a song, and that title is in the form of a question.
Okay.
You know the song "What Is Love" by Hathaway? What is love? Do do do. So basically, it's a song title in the form of a question, and you have to guess who sang the song.
Oh, this isn't going to go well.
And if you can't, you have to answer the question.
Okay, that'll go better.
All right. Pick a number between 1 and 200.
1 and 200? 131.
Hey. All right, here we go. So, 131?
Mm-hmm.
Do they know it's Christmas?
Oh, that's a good one for a nice Jewish boy from Wisconsin. Do they know it's Christmas? I was at a shop the other day and they were playing Christmas tunes, so I think the answer is no. It's an easy one.
But do you know who sang the song, though?
Oh, who sang it? Oh, I don't know who sang it. All I can do is answer the question.
You did answer the question. Okay. That was Band-Aid back in 1980-something. I forget. 84. Wow. I thought it was a little bit later than that. 84. Do they know it's Christmas time at... No. There was like this all-star cast with Bono and Boy George and Sting and Bob Geldof and...
Did Django do that one?
No. he unfortunately he didn't live too long. He died in his 40s, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was 43 when he passed away.
It was a brain aneurysm or something like that?
Yep, that's right.
Wow.
I think he lived with stress and certain medical complications from the fire he suffered in at the age of 18 for pretty much the rest of his life.
Yeah, I was going to get into that kind of... I think a couple of his fingers were burned so much that he couldn't use them to play, so he had to adapt, and that kind of lends to his unique style, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I think, and I should probably let Luke talk too, but I have such a strong feeling about this, I couldn't help but jump in. I mean, Django is such an astounding musical mind and such an amazing player and executor of guitar vocabulary that you almost kind of want to be able to point to something and say that's why he's unique and special, and he had this sort of superhero, this was his being bit by a spider, but I don't think it's true. I mean, he managed to use the fingers on his hand that were hurt a little bit, but you can see he labored sometimes very hard to play the same normal boring chords we all would when he felt the music called for it. And other times he would play much more colorful chords that were natural to the new shape of his hand after his injury. So it all seems like it must have been musical choice. I mean, he was such a tough guy and such a exacting artist that I think we're really hearing what's in his head, hand issue or no hand issue.
Excellent. Wow, good interpretation.
Yeah, although I think maybe he probably figured out some ways to get around the guitar, which are pretty cool, when you have less fingers,
Yeah, I can't
It
argue
might
with
have
that.
contributed to the sound a little bit.
Yeah.
Or a lot. I have no idea.
We'll continue this debate next time. All right. Well, thank you very much, Luke Hendon and Jack Soref, for coming down. Go to the Packing House tonight in Wellington, and 7:30 is the showtime. Luke Hendon and Jack Soref. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.